Did you know that the Chicago Bears made plans to destroy their iconic Soldier Field? But what could be the motive behind doing something so unthinkable? Well, the Bears have been playing at Soldier Field for decades, a place so rich in history that just walking into it makes you feel like you're part of something bigger. But as the NFL evolved and other teams started showing off their shiny state-of-the-art stadiums, the Bears began to dream of something new. They wanted a modern home that could host not just football games, but also massive events like the Super Bowl, concerts, and maybe even your occasional monster truck rally. And they wanted a roof. Yes, a roof. Imagine watching a game or concert without worrying about Chicago's famously unpredictable weather. Sounds amazing, right? Now, before we get too carried away with all the exciting possibilities, let's take a moment to appreciate what Soldier Field means to this team, the fans, and the city. This isn't just another football stadium. Soldier Field was built in 1924 and dedicated to honoring American soldiers who served in the First World War. Over the years, it's become an iconic landmark, woven into the fabric of Chicago's history. The Bears moved there in '71, and since then, fans have packed the stands, even under freezing winds and snowstorm, to cheer for their team. Truly, there's something special about Soldier Field. It's about the memories, the atmosphere, and the tradition. It's a place that feels like home, even with all its quirks. But here's the thing, Soldier Field, as much as we all love it, has become very old. But age isn't all there is to it, because it's the smallest stadium in the NFL with a seating capacity that barely scratches 61,000. Compare that to stadiums like AT&T in Dallas or SoFi in LA, which can hold 70,000 fans with all the bells and whistles you can imagine. Soldier Field feels, let's say, a little outdated. So the Bears started asking themselves, can we really compete in the modern NFL with a stadium stuck in the past? Then they began to dream really big. They imagined a stadium that wasn't just a place to play football, but a full-blown entertainment hub. A place where you could catch a Bears game on Sunday, attend a Taylor Swift concert the next weekend, and maybe even see Chicago host its first ever Super Bowl. That's when the idea of moving to Arlington Heights came to play. Now, Arlington Heights is about 30 miles south side of Chicago. It's quiet, a suburban area with plenty of open space. In 2021, the Bears purchased the 326-acre Arlington International Racecourse property for a whopping $197 million. The location was perfect for their vision, a massive cutting-edge stadium surrounded by a lively entertainment district. We're talking hotels, restaurants, shopping centers, maybe even a casino. The Bears wanted to create something like what the Cowboys have in Arlington, Texas, a destination for fans to enjoy, not just on game day, but all year round. But like any big dream, this one also hit a few snags. The biggest roadblock? Taxes. Yep, good old property taxes. The Bears and the local school district couldn't agree on how much the team should pay in taxes for the Arlington Heights property. Negotiations dragged on, and eventually the whole plan stalled. It was a major setback for the team, but they weren't ready to give up. Now, with their Arlington Heights dream stuck in limbo, the Bears turned their attention back to Chicago. They started thinking, what if we could just build a new stadium right here on the lakefront? And not just any stadium, a dome-covered marble that would be the envy of the whole NFL. The plan was bold, to say the least. It involved tearing down parts of the existing stadium while keeping its historic columns intact. These columns are a huge part of what makes Soldier Field so recognizable. So the Bears wanted to honor the stadium's legacy even as they transformed it to something new. The new stadium would seat up to 70,000 fans, making it one of the biggest venues in the league. And of course, the dome would make it a year-round venue for all kinds of events. Sounds like a win-win, right? Well, not so fast. Because as exciting as the plan sounded, it didn't come without controversy. For starters, some Chicagoans were fiercely opposed to the idea. Soldier Field is a designated National Historic Landmark, and tearing it apart didn't sit well with everyone. Let's start with Friends of the Parks, because if you spend any time in Chicago, you know the city takes its lakefront very seriously. The shoreline isn't just prime real estate, it's practically sacred ground. Groups like Friends of the Park fight tooth and nail to protect the green spaces along the lake, ensuring they remain public and free from overdevelopment. So when the Bears proposed a massive new stadium that would involve tearing down parts of Soldier Field, potentially disrupting the park area around it, Friends of the Park were quick to say, not so fast. But their concerns weren't just about the loss of green space either. They argued that such a massive construction project could permanently alter the character of the lakefront. Would a shiny new stadium overshadow the historic beauty of the area? Would it set a precedent for future developments that could slowly chip away the public spaces Chicagoans cherish? These were real valid questions, and they weren't going to let them go unanswered. But it wasn't just environmental groups raising their voices. A lot of regular folks are worried about one thing in particular, and that thing is money. Stadiums, especially ones with domes, cost a fortune to build. The estimated price tag for the Bears' proposed project was a jaw-dropping $2.5 billion. That's billion with a B. And here's the thing, projects like this rarely stay within budget. Does anyone remember how much the renovation of Soldier Field in '03 was supposed to cost? It ended up costing way more than planned, and taxpayers were left footing a significant part of that bill. Understandably, the people were skeptical about history repeating itself. Even Governor J.B. Pritzker also weighed in on the controversy. He wasn't outright opposed to the idea of the Bears building a new stadium, but made it clear he wasn't a fan of using public money to make it happen. Pritzker was vocal about his belief that Illinois taxpayers shouldn't have to subsidize a billion-dollar project for a private football team. In his words, if the Bears want a new stadium, they should pay for it themselves. It's hard to argue with that logic, especially when you consider the state's long history of financial struggles. Imagine throwing public money at a football stadium when schools, roads, and public services needed funding. It just didn't sit right with a lot of people, and who can blame them? And then there were the voters. In late '24, a local vote was held to gauge public opinion on whether tax dollars should be used for the new stadium. As you already guessed, the result, a resounding no. While some diehard Bears fans were all for the idea, the majority of voters made it very clear they didn't want their hard-earned money going toward what they saw as a luxury project for a private sports team. This was a huge blow to the Bears' plans, as it became clear that winning public support would be a lot harder than initially thought. But wait, there's more. Chicago has a rich history of political and bureaucratic drama, and this situation was no exception. City officials were divided on how to handle the Bears' proposal. Some were enthusiastic, seeing it as an opportunity to bring in new jobs, attract tourism, and revitalize the area around Soldier Field. But others were hesitant, pointing out that similar projects in other cities hadn't always delivered on their promises. For example, look what happened in Las Vegas. They built Allegiant Stadium for the Raiders, and while it's an impressive structure, there's been ongoing debate about whether the economic benefits have been as great as advertised. Still, the Bears didn't lose hope. They kept refining their vision, trying to strike a balance between honoring Soldier Field's history and building something that could secure the team's future. For now, they continue to hold meetings with city leaders, community groups, and fans, trying to find a way to make the project work. As of now, the future of the Bears' new home will still be up in the air. Will they make it work in Arlington Heights? Will they find a way to build their dream stadium on the lakefront? Or will they stick with Soldier Field and make some upgrades instead? Also, will they be able to raise the huge amount of money needed to build the new stadium without public support? Speaking of public support, is there anything the Chicago Bears can do to get the taxpayers on their side? Right now, the Bears are working overtime to win over the hearts and minds of the public, because they know this isn't just about building a stadium, it's about convincing a whole city that a project this massive is going to be worth it. And let's just say they pulled out the playbook for this one. First, they're engaging directly with the community. Did you know that the Bears are now hosting town hall meetings where they present their vision for the stadium and then listen to feedback? These meetings are open to everybody, not just diehard fans, because even skeptical residents who don't want their tax dollars touched are also welcome to participate. The Bears even released a study claiming the stadium could generate hundreds of millions of dollars annually for the local economy. Now, releasing a study like that might seem like a desperate move by the Bears to win critics over, but hey, anything to make the project come true, right? Now, to sweeten the deal, the Bears have promised the public that they'll cover a significant portion of the construction cost through private funding. They've also floated ideas like naming rights for the stadium and corporate sponsorships to further reduce the need for public money. They're doing this because they want people to see this as an investment, not a burden. But what if this grand campaign doesn't work? What if the public remains unconvinced and the city refuses to back the project? Well, the Bears have made it clear that they're not afraid to look elsewhere, so if the city won't support them, they may pack up and build their dream stadium in the suburbs. Only time will tell. But what do you think? Is building a new stadium the right thing for the Bears to do at the moment? Head to the comments and tell us. We are committed to releasing 2 videos a week. Like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more visionary builds.